She was exposed to mission then through a first mission trip to Sager Brown in Baldwin, Louisiana. If we have time, we're going to show you a 3-minute video clip. She's going to try to challenge us as a church to think about that as a starting point for mission away from the church. But then, from Mexico City, came 2 folks from the Oriental Mission Society, and that's when things really began to change. Can you say a word about that and where that led you in the world?
Yeah, like Michelle said, I had been on one mission trip, and had the honor of hearing several different missionaries speak. And every time I heard one speak, I just had this tug on my heart, that was something that I needed to do. And for me, being as shy and introverted, as I am, I thought, there's no way. I must be misunderstanding. God could not be asking me to go in the mission field anywhere and to go and do something like this. At that time, it was hard for me to get out of a pew and shake someone's hand on Sunday mornings. That was a challenge. That was a stretch for me. But these folks came and they spent several days with us speaking on their experiences in Mexico. And again, I just had this draw. So Kelly suggested that I spend some time talking with Susan just about what kind of opportunities there might be, and even maybe ways that I could serve without actually going. Spent some time talking with her, and she gave me some information. This was I believe in February. Can't remember exactly. Started thinking, well, I work in a job where I'm off in the summers. Maybe this is something I can do. Maybe this is a way I can spend my summers. So she gave me a brochure, some information, some contact information, thinking that, this being February, well, I won't be able to go this first summer, but maybe by the next summer, I'll work up enough nerve and, and be able to save the money and everything that I needed to go. Went ahead and contacted the people just to get some idea of what was going on. And there were a couple of opportunities that opened up for that summer. So we're talking just a few months away. I kept praying about it, kept arguing with God about it. No, you can't mean this. You really can't mean to do this now. I'm not ready. I don't have the money. And my wise friend Kelly pointed out to me that there was an awful lot of I in that. There was an awful lot of I couldn't do it and I couldn't get the money.
The trip was to Russia. Yeah, you're kidding, right?
Yeah.
Russia.
I went, Russia? No way. Tried to talk my friend into going with me. Couldn't work that out. And again, the money was an issue. She suggested that we write a letter, talk to the congregation, write a letter to family, friends, anybody that I knew, and explain what was going on and just let the Lord work in that. Ask them to pray for the situation, pray for the trip. So I finally said, all right, God, if this is really what you're calling me to do, if this is really what you want me to do, I'll send in the application, but you're going to have to do an awful lot of working on me before we can do this. I filled out the application, put it in the mail, and had absolute unbelievable peace. From that moment on, I told Michelle it was an amazing feeling. I never looked back. I was never afraid again. I just knew this was going to happen. I knew the money was going to come somehow, some way.
$3,000, which she didn't have.
$3,000.
And you collected more than the $3,000.
We actually did. People just started sending in pledges to the church, and we did. We actually collected more money than I needed.
This introvert, who was practically afraid of her shadow, went to Russia with 7 people from Fraser United Methodist that she had never met in her life, a student from Milligan. She had to share a room with a student from Milligan in a small Russian flat. The introvert who needs her time and her space said she didn't miss that time of not having that to herself. She said that she learned while she was there that if ever anyone knew that everything that they own is a gift from God, these Russian Christians knew it. Can you just say a word about that, the way they lived, and about the little boy Mishka and the gift you brought?
It's funny because the whole time we were there, the missionary that we were working with kept thanking us for coming and for giving up our time. She kept saying for the sacrifice we were making. And I kept thinking in my mind over and over, what is she talking about? This is not a sacrifice. These people are blessing me more than I could ever bless them. It was just like the gentleman this morning. I mean, the faith of those people was just amazing, and staying in their home, and living in this little bitty tiny flat that they lived in, and listening to them talk about how they prayed and prayed for a 2-room flat so they could have people come and stay with them. I mean, their whole flat was not as big as this room, and they had already had 5 people there. The 2 of us were 7 that lived in this flat. They had 3 children, and their faith was just amazing. You know, I guess part of that being in a communist country, the poverty, they understood and realized, like Michelle said this morning, that absolutely everything they had and everything they were was a gift from God. And that's how they lived their lives. Their children, we took gifts to to the kids, and didn't really know if they were boys or girls. We couldn't really tell from the names. And when we gave the gifts to the children, the dad stopped us and said, you know, he appreciated that, but that the children needed to take a few minutes to thank God first for the gifts, that they wanted to make sure that their children understood that we thank God for everything that we have. So they did that, and then the next day, Sasha, who is the dad, came and told us that we took bubble guns. I mean, just little bubble guns and little coloring things. I mean, just very simple little toys. That the little boys slept with the bubble guns the night before. And when they went to bed, they prayed and thanked God and said that we are not boys worthy of such a gift. And they were just so grateful for everything they had. The stories that they told us were amazing. You know, of the things that happened in their lives because of their faith and because of their prayer. Anytime anything went on in that church, the whole church was right there praying with them together. And the stories were miraculous. I could sit here all day and talk about them.
She has an unbelievable photo album that I'm sure she would be happy to share with you. We went through it Friday as she told story after story. Poor Tom, when she came home, she said her whole thought about possessions changed, that anything that wasn't tied down, she gave away. I don't know if you have anything left, Tom. Anything that was in a box in the basement, if it was in a box in the basement, we weren't using it, it needed to go. She said she learned that life was about living much more simply. And going into Walmart today is still a hard thing for you.
Yeah,
how many cereal boxes, how many kinds of different cereal do we really need? Anyway, how much is enough? So Cindy says that it changed not only her understanding of time, but it also changed the way she shared her money and she gave of her resources. Tom and Cindy have a habit that supports their mission habit. They are engaged in a stained glass ministry. They love to make stained glass together. They've actually made some for Hank and Joe Cardwell, have a piece hanging in their home that they've done. Cindy said she felt guilty at first doing it because they were using it to make money. But when they re-envisioned that they could use the money from this to use it for mission trips, then the whole opportunity to do it became different because it was a way in which to bless other people.